Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and welcome to another RAWtalk episode number 46. And this week we have a pretty busy show. I have a couple of topics that I want to go into detail about that we're going to talk about as we move forward in this RAWtalk after the news, followed by a flying solo portion where I hope to get to as many questions as possible. Steven, how's your week going?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It's officially my birthday today.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Stop interrupting. Steven, don't interrupt me. I've got happy
you said
birthday.
How it's going.
I know. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Steven. I have that written right here. All right?
Okay.
Well, it does say gift
we gonna have like
there.
a party?
You can probably
and stuff?
see that. Yeah, we'll have a party in the middle.
Nice.
But anyway, back to before I was interrupted by Steven, let me just tell you that the Antonelli Institute audio is now live on any podcasting network. So if you are subscribed anywhere or you have access to anything, it's not just iTunes. For anybody out there thinking that we're just discriminating against people that don't have iTunes, you don't have to have iTunes in order to access a podcast. You've got Stitcher. There's a multitudes of other places where you can access the podcast. So that is up there. That's an hour and a half. People have loved it. Big news this week for the site. Past 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you guys out there for all of the support. Awesome. Started with zero. For anybody that says, how do you do it? I started with zero, and now there's 200,000. Legitimately had zero followers, and it just starts to build.
That's
you pass
crazy.
that 1,000, that 10,000, that 20,000, 100,000 was awesome, and now 200,000's nice.
And what's your total views at? Like something
30
crazy?
million. It's over 30 million, but there's people that get 30 million on a video.
Yeah,
you know? But hey, we're over 1,300 videos as well.
That's awesome.
And then right before we get into news, I want to say thank you to allenscamera.com. They are a sponsor this week. Check out allenscamera.com for all things Nikon. You've got your Nikon D600s, you have your D800s, your D4s, anything you can think of Nikon, whether it's the lenses, even if you want to pick up a Coolpix camera, they have those there. Please check out allenscamera.com. Don't forget to ask for the Fro price, and if there is anything they can do for you, they will do their best, but let them know that you came from the podcast. That would be good to say Fro price from the podcast, and they could help you out. I was just over there the other day. A lot of good used Nikon glass there, 70 to 200s, 24 to 70s, big glass. It's just a really cool place. Mom and pop store, run by Alan, run by Brandon, Marlena, and Rob.
Nice.
Very small. I mean, there's not a lot of people there. You've been there.
Yeah.
It's a great place. I really like being there, and
they all know what they're talking about.
And they know what they're talking
they
about.
Help you out a ton.
Yeah. So, but if you just want to shop in your underwear, allenscamera.com. Anywhere in the United States, check them out for all your Nikon goods. Steven.
Yes,
news.
sir.
We don't have a song.
We don't
yet. I'm gonna do.
We're gonna get one.
I'm gonna do the research. We're gonna find a song. Maybe Gavin DeGraw will sing you a song.
Ooh.
I was gonna invite him over today. No, I was because
he could have been a special guest.
He could have been a special guest, but I was told he doesn't wake up till later. I'll be going over and spending the day with him today, photographing from start to finish.
Nice.
I set that up, and I was gonna have him come over and play my mom's piano in the corner, and I've been like, "Come on, play me some Chariots or something." Chariots. Maybe another time we'll have him on. Steven.
Yes.
What is in the news?
Well, we're going to kick it off with a rumor, which I know you love. Canon supposedly plans on releasing a high-end DSLR with a high-end megapixel DSLR that's going to have 75 megapixel sensor.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
Is it going to be a 35 millimeter?
It's going to be full frame, is what they're supposedly saying.
Yeah.
Rumors. And it's rumored to not have just a traditional sensor, but a stack sensor that uses 3 RGB sensor layers, which is supposed to capture greater color information.
Yeah, somebody else has already tried that in the past.
Yeah, we'll see if it works. Apparently, they tweaked it up to have 75 megapixels of information to do that. The 3-layer sensor was patented by Canon back in May, too, so that's why they're thinking it's going to be used for this. And yeah, the megapixel war is back on.
A lot of photographers want higher megapixels for advertising and stuff like that, but whether or not it's necessary is a whole nother ball game. I'm sure Nikon's working on something similar. I don't know, but whatever. It's going to come out. It's going to be an $8,000 camera. You have to decide, do you want a medium format camera or do you want a 35 millimeter studio camera?
Yep.
It would be interesting to see what the ISO capability it does and video, if it even does video.
The other thing is with that 3 RGB sensor layer, the new sensor that they're saying, apparently, like you said, it was in the past that someone tried to do that. And in the past, it couldn't push high ISO with that new sensor. So we'll hope that Canon has fixed that and it can still push high ISO with this new 3 RGB layer sensor.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Next up, photographer Joshua Watson and his now wife revealed pictures from his engagement shoot. The cool part is They recreated classic movie posters.
A
and
lot
covers.
of them, too.
A lot, yeah. There was like 5 or 6 or even more. He hired photographer Jordan Nakamore to actually take the photos and to retouch them and do all the editing. And it includes everything from a Casablanca movie poster.
You ever seen Casablanca?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't.
Oh, really?
No.
You should watch it. I saw a movie that you didn't see.
Beautiful relationship.
Casablanca to Walk the Line to Inception. They did
I'll walk the line.
And the funny part is that they recreated the movie posters so well that Google image search is now confusing them, and they're posting those pictures when you search the actual movie. Those images are coming up.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, they look great. I think Little Miss Sunshine was one of them too.
Yeah, the Little Miss Sunshine was funny. That stuff's
great.
really cool.
Yeah. Fro Vader will love this. Moving up to wedding photos, though. Very similar idea. Newlywed couple had a Star Wars themed photo shoot for their formals. Photographer Steven Kowalski created the image. He used everything from the Imperial Walkers to a replica of Luke's lightsaber, which apparently they had laying around the house. Obviously, they're big Star Wars fans.
Nerds.
It's pretty
nerds.
It's pretty cool because it shows the before and after picture. How basically it started very simple on just a beach. Took 5 minutes to shoot in natural light, nothing fancy about it. And he says he spent around 6 to 8 hours though to actually edit it and do all the. I think the longest part that he took is to find the right coloring and all that stuff for the picture. But it looks great. It looks really cool and it looks very cinematic.
Nice.
I saw The Conjuring this week, which is a great
I don't even
movie.
know what The Conjuring is.
It's kind of like The Exorcist, but like based on a true story.
I don't do scary movies.
Well, then you don't want to see this.
I don't like scary movies.
Because I could barely sleep the past 2 nights.
I don't like scary movies.
My girlfriend had to sleep over the first night we saw it because we were both so freaked out.
Sure. I mean, she just wanted to sleep over next to you.
But yeah, I saw The Conjuring, and it's been hyped up a lot, so I thought this would be pretty cool to add in. It's a 3-part behind-the-scenes video series, basically featuring making of footage of how the movie was made and on set and all that stuff. And it's cool for all those filmmaking fans that are into that kind of stuff or that want to learn a little more about it, what goes on in a true production, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
It showcases everything from using flags to follow focus to external monitors, lighting, dollies, all kinds of cool stuff, tricks they did on the camera. And it's like I said, 3-part video series. So I think it's like almost 20 minutes of behind the scenes video in total.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let me remind people out here that any of these photo news stories can be found over at the link above if you're on YouTube or on FroKnowsPhoto.com/podcast. Just find episode number 46 and you will see all of these stories listed in full detail with all the information. It's right there. We put it into one place. We kind of consolidate the news. We make it a repository, not a suppository, for finding all the photo news that we talk about. I like the fact that we put it together in one place so that if you're not paying attention every single day of the week to the photo news, you have one place to find a nice selection of news.
A giant recap.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a suppository.
That's a suppository, yeah.
Anal hour.
Hashtag. Yet another rumor. Sony is reportedly building a camera lens with a built-in sensor, basically a lens that can be paired with a smartphone to create an interchangeable camera, which is pretty cool. The lens will supposedly include a built-in battery and memory as well. It will connect wirelessly, which I think this is the best part about it. So it allows the smartphone to be used as the LCD screen and extra memory and so-called body of the camera.
Yeah, you need a major company like that to do it.
Yep.
We had this idea, I'm sure not the only people to ever have an idea, but I was working with somebody to try to pair any phone with a device that connects to the camera wirelessly over Bluetooth and allows you to control everything. It was going to be the RAW camera. Allows you to control everything on the back of it. It just didn't happen yet.
Well,
we may still do it.
Apparently, I think at CES or Photokina or one of the big photo workshop places, another company had this idea, but it was just a concept camera. It wasn't actually in the making.
Yeah, there was. Well, I mean, Will.i.am has a camera that's doing something similar to that, but it's really, really expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's like Beats and all that.
But it was
stuff.
for the iPhone. It was a connection thing, and it utilized, I think, a separate sensor and a flash. So yeah, the concept's there. It's a pretty cool obviously, it's a great concept.
Yeah,
you
portable.
Add it to your phone. It's wireless. You're gonna they'll do some kind of menu touch system. I mean, they got the money to make it happen.
Yep. Fujifilm, they discontinued their Neopan 400 black and white film along with their Provia 400x slide film.
Yeah.
A statement from Fuji about it for anyone wondering why they did it.
Yes, let's hear this.
We know that any discontinuation of a well-loved and long-established product can be difficult to adjust to for both the retailers and the end user, says the bulletin. However, in order to gain efficiencies and proper utilization of line capacity, it is necessary to review volumes and make appropriate decisions moving forward.
I agree.
Time?
But no, I mean, it's fine. It's time. It's
Yeah,
like you
it is
have to
time.
move on.
Yeah, I agree. And there's other versions you can get that are similar to it and all that kind of stuff. So, and apparently this is still going to be on the shelf for the next year or so. So you shouldn't have a problem finding it if you want to stock up. A breathtaking online gallery of high-res film scans from every Apollo mission is now available online, which is really fascinating. It features every mission from Apollo 1 to 17. It has about 1,000 images alone of Apollo 11, which is the big
moon
mission,
landing.
the moon landing.
This is fascinating. I didn't know this was there, so I'm going to have to check these out.
There's so many images. It's free to the public, which is really nice since NASA astronauts actually took the images. So you can download the high res, you can share them, you can use them in your photos.
You can print them at Adorama Pics.
Print them, do whatever you want.
Yeah, honestly, if they have the moon, the photo from the moon that I guess was taken from Apollo 11 I know it's video also. They have footage, film of the Earth rising on the moon. It's just such a fascinating photograph from the moon watching Earth. It's just like the opposite, something we never saw before.
Yeah.
And if we can print that, that's something that I would print the size of a wall on wallpaper and just look at because it's so fascinating.
And these are high-res scans, so you should be able to print them huge.
Well, and they were all slide film, I believe.
And they look great. They all retouched them, and they look incredible.
And being that it's property of the government, or it was paid for by our tax dollars or our parents' tax dollars, or whoever was around then, and that means you can do whatever you want with them.
Yeah.
It's free. You can print them, enjoy them, and love them.
What I actually do is every time NASA puts out like a new high-res image of the Earth that they layer together in composite, it's usually like a huge, like 8,000 by 8,000 pixel image or whatever. So I always save the high-res, and one day I'm going to print it out to like just a huge picture for my room because I've been wanting to do that for a long time.
I got you some credit.
Yeah, I got a ton of credit now for Adorama.
$500 for Adorama Pics?
Yeah, I got to use it.
I know, it's not your birthday gift, though. I already gave it to you.
Yeah. But it includes everything from training exercises on Earth to being on the actual moon. So I'm sure that
I'm going to take a look.
Picture you're talking about is on there.
And you guys can take a look over on our website.
Yep. And last up, we have researchers from the Saarland University in Saarbrücken, Germany. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize if I'm not. But they're giving
What's that from, Steven? Come on, kid.
Give me a hint.
Hadouken!
Is that like, I want to say Street Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter. Hadouken! Finish him! Except that's not Street Fighter. That's from Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat, yeah.
Hadouken!
They're giving Lytro a run for its money, though. They've created a new camera accessory they're calling...
I don't know that you can give Lytro a run for its money.
I guess they don't have much money.
Lytro has money. They've got backing, but the funny thing is, where are they running?
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry.
I thought that was a clever way to word it.
Okay, good job.
Apparently not.
Nice job, Steven.
They've created a new camera accessory they're calling the Kaleido camera.
Kaleido camera.
It sits between your camera's lens and the body itself and splits the incoming light into 9 separate beams that can be individually filtered before they hit the sensor in a 3x3 grid, whatever the hell that means.
I think what it means is that they have a full frame sensor and it splits it 3x3, so it's like a checkerboard. Not checkerboard.
That's what it looked. It looked like the roll thirds kind of thing.
Well, like text. It's making 9 images, right?
Yes.
So it looks like a tic-tac-toe board.
Yep.
So you would have a tic-tac-toe board, and each one would receive the same image, but only the size would be 3x3. It would be smaller. So then when it's composited together, then they can go ahead and do the Lytro style thing.
So basically, what they're saying is this allows photographers to capture a high-end dynamic range in a single shot, or to filter it out. To filter out specific colors and wavelengths that can be recombined and manipulated in post-production or simply used for research purposes. Since the individual beams are entering the lens at slightly different angles, there's enough data in the image to calculate depth and perform clever Lytro-like refocusing tricks afterwards. So that's why they're saying it's kind of like Lytro.
Sure.
And the researchers hope to turn it into a consumer product eventually, as either an add-on accessory to a DSLR or maybe even used with smartphones.
Sure.
Which will be pretty cool. If that happens, who knows?
Nice.
And that is it for this week's photo news.
Some good news, Steven.
I try.
So why don't you go ahead and reset that thing? Mm-hmm. I'm going to continue talking and then get back in that chair.
Sounds good.
Because it's your birthday. I got you a stripper. He's about to come out of the elevator. So yeah, it's Steven's birthday, but why don't I talk about the Pay It Forward board before I do Steven's birthday? Pay It Forward board. Have you ever been to Little Baby's Ice Cream?
I have not, but I saw the picture you're talking about.
Yeah, the Pay It Forward board, and it was fascinating. I went in there and I was like, oh, it's a Pay It Forward board, and I was like, what is this? And she's like, you can buy, and this was a hipster girl with a side ponytail, that red hair, piercings, and tattoos, and she was pretentious.
That's not cliche or anything.
She was so freaking pretentious. I was asking questions and she was making me feel like I was a moron for asking questions. Like Little Baby's ice cream, for anybody out there, go to YouTube and type in Little Baby's ice cream and you'll see a viral video that was created that ended up becoming viral, of a guy eating ice cream off of his own head. It's freaking crazy. Well,
is this local or?
Yeah, Little Baby's is all throughout the city.
Okay.
They have one down at Pizza Brain.
I gotta check it out.
Pizza Brain and
Pizza Brain is delicious.
Well, yeah, it's because they put the garlic under. I can't really eat that stuff, but it's fantastic.
Everything you want on a pizza.
Oh yeah. So Pizza Brain, connected to Pizza Brain, is Little Baby's.
Okay.
They had an ice cream flavor up there called Everything Bagel. So I said to the girl, I'm like, is that like you mix garlic and you put onion and you put the salt into the ice cream? She's like, it's an everything bagel. I'm like, but. Oh, I got you.
I got the name, but you actually do it.
That, but what is it? And she's like, oh, we soak the bagels, the everything bagels, in the ice cream. I'm like, okay, well now that makes sense. And I did taste it. It tastes like an everything bagel. It's fascinating.
Weird though?
Oh, it's very weird. I like everything bagels.
Yeah,
but,
I do too, but I like them by themselves.
Right, but not as ice cream.
I don't prefer them via ice cream.
The one little stick of it was enough. But anyway, back to the thank you board. Sorry, the pay it forward board. They have a board up there, and it has somebody's name, buying a scoop. You can pre-buy a scoop for somebody. One up there said somebody with a Simpsons tattoo. So if you came in with the Simpsons tattoo, you can get that free scoop of ice cream thanks to somebody else and hopefully pay it forward to somebody else. So I decided, Meg wanted to get ice cream. I didn't really want ice cream. I ended up buying some, and it's in the freezer for later. And I was like, I want to pay it forward to anybody that has a fro. A white guy, a black girl, a white girl. It didn't matter. Or a poodle. You know, anything with a fro, I want to pay it forward. But that got me thinking, like, in your business, in any business, if you're a restaurateur and you have a pay it forward board, put $20 towards somebody's meal if something happens. I mean, it's a fantastic idea.
It's a great idea.
It cost me $4 to pay it forward, and somebody will enjoy an ice cream cone, an ice cream scoop because of me.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't think about it. I was like I want to do this because it was cool. So think about how you can do that in your own business. You know, is there a photography thing? Somebody's like, I want to pay for a portrait session for somebody. And I have plenty of ideas. And this goes back to an idea that I've had for over 2 years that I've been advised by accountants how to properly do it. And you know, I'm still waiting for the right point. I'm going to start the process of making that happen. But Steven, it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
I got you a gift.
You got me a gift?
I did. I got you something. It's like a gift for this year and like 12 years after. But I appreciate the work you've done since you started working with the podcasts. It's your birthday. I decided to get something interesting. It's in this box that you didn't know what it was.
Oh, you said you were shipping that out.
I lied, Steven.
I really
lied.
haven't seen this, by the way,
Well,
for those wondering.
It's taped up. So put your notes away and get ready to open that.
Should I open it now?
Oh, yeah, open it now, because then I'm kicking you off so I can get into the rest of the show.
I don't have scissors. There's so much tape.
There's not that much tape. I didn't use that much tape.
Oh.
Now move the box. Here, I'll move this box. Put that foam down. Here, back in the box. Because I had to borrow the box from Borrow Lenses. I borrowed the Borrow Lenses box. What is it?
Is this a 16 to 35 28L?
Well, look at the box. That's what it says, right?
Yeah. I have this lens.
Oh. I thought you didn't have that lens.
No, I do have this lens.
All right, I'll get you something else.
But thank you.
I guess I'm returning it to Alan's camera. That would have been great. I thought you didn't have that lens.
I do have this lens.
You have the 24 to 70.
I have the 16 to 30. I have the Holy Trinity.
The version 2?
The version 2.
When did you get that?
I've had it always.
Oh, I feel like an asshole now. Now I feel like a dick.
See, this is why you guys know that we didn't actually know about this beforehand.
Well, that would have been a nice gift.
This is an awesome gift.
So now I got to
I only have 2 of them.
No, I'm taking it back. I'll get you something else.
Dude, but thank you. Like, this is a
that would have been nice
investment. Still alone, just the, oh my God.
I know.
That's
well, thank you.
Incredible.
I'll give you credit towards Alan's to go buy something if you want. Or I'll just...
This is a huge birthday gift, though, alone. I mean, regardless if I have it or not, man, that's...
I didn't know you had that lens.
Yeah, I do, actually, unfortunately. I bought it used, though. I did buy it used. I buy a lot of my stuff used because it's just so damn expensive, which that's why I'm like, wow, you bought me a brand new one.
I did.
That's crazy.
Well, because it was multifaceted.
Can we return the used one?
No, I can return this one, and I mean, why would you return the used one? It's
no,
still
I'm kidding,
working.
I'm
Here,
kidding.
give this back. It's no longer yours. I'm going to return it. I'm going to tear up the check that I didn't give him yet.
Now
I feel Now I feel horrible. I didn't think you owned that one.
I do own that, yeah. Because I have 16-35, 24-70, 70-200, a fisheye 8mm, and a 100 macro.
I just never saw you use the 16-35.
I use it at shows, but I don't use it ever with you in here.
Nah, I didn't know you had it. I thought you only had the 24-70.
But thank you.
Oh, well.
Thank you, though.
You're welcome. I'll save the $1,700 and get you something else that we can use.
I could recommend something else.
What can you recommend?
A 50 or an 85 one, too.
Okay.
And I'll put money toward it.
Well, how much is a 51 too?
I think the 51, I don't know. I know the 85 is a ton of money, but the 50 I think is up there like 1,600.
Well, I could probably just exchange it.
I got to check it out.
I'll talk to Alan.
They're the two lenses I've been wanting to get forever. I rented both of them for the wedding, and they're just,
all right.
I would never take them off my camera.
Go sit in your chair. I'm sorry.
Thank you again, dude. I really
You're
appreciate
welcome. It's the thought that counts.
It is.
Now
it really
I feel like
is.
a dick. I was all excited, like, Steven doesn't have this lens. It'd be awesome. Darn it. We'll talk about it after the show. Unbelievable, Steven. Okay. Anyway, now it's my turn here. Everything still good, Steven?
Yep.
All right. So there's something that I want to talk about. We talked about the Pay It Forward board. I want to thank Rode. It's not what I wanted to talk about, but Rode still hooked us up with these microphones to use during the show. That's what they are. There's Rode broadcasters with the arms. We like the style of them. I know Steven has a condenser at home. Steven, if you knock off the cords and stuff, I will punch you on your birthday. I will punch you on your birthday, but it's not. He didn't. So anyway, Rode, thank you again for these mics. So I had a couple of readers send me a letter that they received for entering a photo contest, and I got to choose my words carefully here because, yes, before I even talk about it, yeah, okay. Choose my words carefully because I actually talked to a lawyer about it so that I don't get slandered or libeled or anybody thinking that it was libel or slander. I can't believe you already have that lens. I seriously can't. I didn't think you had that lens.
Yeah, unfortunately I do. And I use it all the time at shows, so if I didn't have it, it would have been a great gift. But I've seen you at shows. I know, but
I'm not paying attention to you. I'm paying attention to the show.
Yeah, I mean, I usually start with my 24-70, and then I usually go real wide with the 16-35 for the second song, but I don't know. I'm usually on my own at shows, and I just run around.
Darn it. Darn it.
It's all good, dude. It's seriously, like, just the fact that you went out there and got that, that's a huge investment, and I really appreciate that.
Okay, anyway. Darn it. The photo contest thing here. So I've gotten a bunch of emails from true readers that sent me the letters that they said that they've been selected to win, or not win, but they've been selected in something in this photo contest, and they wanted to know if it was legitimate or not. I can't use the S word. I really wanted to, but it wouldn't be right. So they sent me the letters. I read the letters, and in my opinion, let me just read it first. Well, actually, in my opinion, I wouldn't do it. I can say that. In my opinion, I don't think that this is worth doing. So let me read you this letter because this is a well-known contest that is out there. It's from a publishing company called Serbin Publishing Company is where the letter comes from. It's Photographers Forum magazine. There's even big sponsors tied to it. So let me read you this letter, and then I'll tell you what my recommendation is. It says, Photographers Forum magazine would like to thank you for entering the 33rd Annual Spring Photography Contest, co-sponsored by Sigma. Over 10,000 photographs were submitted by amateur photographers from around the United States and Canada, as well as 73 other countries worldwide. Don't forget about this amateur photographers thing, because I think you have to be an amateur photographer to enter. And I'll talk about that when we go on a little further. Our photo editor, Neil Campbell, selected the top 14% of the entered photos to be in the finalist group. Okay, you realize what they did there. They didn't say the top 1,400 photos. They said the top 14%. Now, 1,400 out of 10,000 is a ton of images. That's a lot of images to go ahead and put into a photo contest to pick down from. That is just a lot. But let me keep going on here. And let me preface by saying that this is a legitimate contest. They do have winners. They do give prizes away. And they do everything that they say they will do. They do. But in my opinion, we're going to get to that. The judges will review the finalists from which they will choose the first through fourth place photographs plus 100 honorable mentions. That's good. I mean, 1 through 4 is good, and 100 honorable mentions. That's top 1%. That's a good thing. That's 100 photos out of 10,000 coming in. That I would be excited about. I'm going to skip the judges because I don't want to read who they are. Not important. Winners and honorable mentions will receive notification in the mail by August 12th, 1st through 4th. First through fourth. Darn it, let me start that again. Winners and honorable mentions will receive notification in the mail by August 12th. First through fourth. Wow. Maybe. Oh. First through fourth place will be exhibited at Brooks Institute Gallery 27 later this year. So I'm pretty sure that, in my opinion, maybe Brooks is an advertiser that paid to be a part of this to show their gallery. We're pleased. Did I even say who sponsored this?
I don't think so.
I did. Co-sponsored by Sigma.
Just kidding. You did.
No, I think I did. But anyway, it's co-sponsored by Sigma, and I called Sigma, and I asked them, and they did verify that they are a sponsor of this contest. Okay. We're pleased to inform you that your entry is in the finalist group. As such, it will be published in the book Best Photography 2013. The image that was chosen for publication appears as a black and white thumbnail on the enclosed card. Please review the information on the card and return it immediately to ensure that your name and photos are published accurately and that we have your correct address. Best Photography 2013 is a beautiful hardcover coffee table book showcasing all the finalists. That's 1,400 photos. Your work will be presented in a professional manner with faithful reproduction. As always, we will be publishing advertising by leading photographic manufacturers. I'm going to come back to that. The book is sold to photographers, college libraries, and instructors of photography, art, and graphic design. We will not be going back to press to meet additional orders after the book has sold out. Reserve yours now. Books reserved now will be shipped in December. Congratulations for being in the finalist group, and I wish you the best in the next round of judging. Sincerely, Glenn R. Serbin, publisher. So, yes, this is a legitimate contest, and I don't agree with the wording in this letter. I think it's very sales pitchy. It's very, trying to make it seem like you've won something tremendous. You have been selected in the top finalist group. But like I said earlier, if you were selected to be in the top 100, then that's awesome. But what they're trying to do here is they're trying to sell you a book, and the cost of the book is $55 for one copy, $105 for two, $150 for three, and $45 each for four or more. Now, they give you this form to fill out, and it has your name already on it with the photo that they selected. We'll have pictures pop up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. And they basically say, verify that this is correct, because we want to make sure that we get it right in the book so that it's published and you get all that credit. And then it says, yes, I would like to reserve the following. So there's check marks for yes, but there's nothing that says no. So it's very... can I say misleading? In my opinion, it's misleading. In my opinion, that's my opinion, Jared, it's misleading. They may not see it as that because they wrote it, and it's meant to showcase that you were recognized. And I think what's going on here is a lot of people think that this is a really great portfolio builder or opportunity to showcase on a resume that you won or were selected in the finalist group for something, and you're really excited as an amateur photographer, which they talk about here because it's for amateur photographers. That means they're people that are up and coming in photography and really see this as a major step forward. And it's not, I'm not putting anybody down in any stretch to say that you were selected as the top 1,400 out of 10,000. I'm just saying that they're charging you $55 to purchase a book, and the line in there. And I hear that the book is beautiful. I hear it's a nice photo book, but they don't tell you how big it's going to be printed. They don't tell you that. Just know that there's 1,400 other photos going to show up in this book. But the one line that gets me is that it's hidden here at the bottom. It's not hidden because it's in plain sight. It says, as always, we will be publishing advertising by leading photographic manufacturers. So what that tells me is that there will be advertising in this hardback book. And because there's advertising, that means they are making money selling ads. Their hope here is to sell, I guess, 1,400 books, and advertisers will pay money to advertise to these photographers. But in my opinion, you should not have to buy the book if you're part of the finalist group. I understand it's expensive to produce, but if you are in a contest and you've won something or you're in the group, I don't think that they should be selling you something, making you pay $55, they're not making you pay, giving you the option to pay $55 to then be advertised to on top of seeing your work with 1,400 other images. I know I'm drawing this out because I'm just trying to make sure I say the words properly, and I say that this is all in my opinion. So I just find that it's worded in such a way that, look, if you were in the top 100, an honorable mention, or you won first through fourth place, and they were only going to sell 100 books, or you could buy a few more, but I think if you were in the top 100, then yes, that's 1% of the 10,000 entries. Then I would say, yeah, you know what? That'd be cool to own a book to see that you made it into the top 100 best photographs of 2013 from this particular contest. There's a lot of photo contests out there. PDN does them. There's a website, ViewBug, that does them. They do charge you. I believe, I'm not sure, I'm not positive if this contest was free to enter. I know one person that contacted me said it was $5. I don't have that verified, whether that's true or not, but that's not a bad thing. Sometimes entering a contest, really, there's prizes involved and there's administration things that are involved. So yes, asking for maybe $5 to enter, not a major deal. There's some other contests out there like PDN that's maybe $35 to enter, but maybe they'll get the best photographs entered for that. But really, in my opinion, to be chosen as a top 14%, that's cool and all, but that's a lot of images that are going to be in a hardback book that I'm sure is very nice that they're selling to you along with advertising. This is a money-making business. What just turned? Oh, the live view just turned off?
Yeah.
This is a business. They are in the business of holding photo contests and getting money for sponsorships and making money off of selling these books. Everything they're doing is legitimate. Nothing is illegal about what they're doing. Just in my opinion, I would not recommend purchasing this book just to see your photograph amongst 1,400 other photographers. I don't see it as a major like portfolio builder thing. I mean, so you don't even need to own the book in order to say that you made it. Put it on your resume and say, I was selected as in the finalist group for the 2013 best of photos for this thing. Put that in your portfolio. But if you need that recognition, if you really want to have that recognition that you were in this book, then by all means go ahead and do it. Purchase it if you want it. Just I'll finish it here. In my opinion, I would not buy that book unless I won something. And you know what's interesting? I think you need to return. Yes, here's another thing that's on top of not being able to, you still have to send the card in if you want your name in the book properly, if they made a mistake. And it would be funny to know if they actually made a mistake on purpose, but I can't say that they did because I don't know. I don't think they did. But really, you're kind of enticed to send it back because nothing says, no, I'm not interested in buying the book. If they had a box here that said, no, I'm not interested, but yes, my information is correct, that would be something good, right, Stephen?
Yeah.
That would make more sense. But
that's what I was concerned about, was that part.
Right. And what's important, it says important, postmarked no later than August 5th, 2013. Let me see. What was that date that they will be notifying you August 12th? August 12th to tell you if you were in the first through fourth or in the 100 honorable mention. So you have to make a decision before you even know if you were put into the honorable mention or the top winning 1 through 4th.
Oh, wow.
So you see how that's done there?
I didn't know that
Well,
part.
that's just came to mind here. So it's all done in a way that it's making you take action on something before you really know who the winners are. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with them doing that. It's part of marketing. Their job is they want to sell books and sell advertising and make money off of that, in my opinion. I'll just keep saying my opinion. I should just call this podcast in my opinion. But so yeah, just knowing that they want you to make that decision before you even receive that other thing. So you can't wait till August 12th to send your thing in, because if you do that, you are not going to get your book, theoretically, because it says must be postmarked. So my answer to you guys, in my opinion, if you do run into a competition like this, it is legitimate, but I would enter it to see in the hopes that you win, but I would not purchase this book that has advertising in it that they're making money off of, because I don't know how big the picture is going to be. It could be a thumbnail size in there, because of 1,400 pictures is a lot.
You're saying you personally wouldn't purchase it?
I personally would not purchase this, in my opinion, if I entered this contest. Well, yes. Thank you, Stephen. AKA my lawyer, I can't believe you already own that lens. I feel really stupid now.
It's all good, man. It's always kind of hidden in my bag in the back, so that's probably why.
Jeez, and Alan's going to be like yelling at me, you're returning this.
Well, we didn't open it, so
well,
that's why I didn't want to open it.
Well, he already took out the card from inside. I'll talk to him. So that's it. I'm moving forward. How much time do we have, Steven, or what time are we in?
We're at 35 minutes
All
right
right,
now.
so I want you to give me no more than 30 minutes to complete the flying solo portion of this section.
When do you want me to give you warnings?
When I start reading the person's stuff, start the clock.
Okay.
And then I'll ask you time as we go on.
Okay.
But I want to thank, again, allenscamera.com. Everything Nikon, pick it up there. They got it. Lenses, used lenses, new lenses, and that's it. All right, go ahead, Steven.
Okay, so you're at 36, so you have half an hour.
Yep. Sahil Nanda. I've been in photography for the past 3 years now. All that I know so far has been self-taught by going through videos on YouTube, especially yours. But now I am looking to gain some first-hand knowledge from experienced photographers. I am confused between joining a photography school or joining a local studio as an apprentice. Please help me out. Now, I took this question for a reason. Look, guys, I'm not gonna say this. I'm not being mean. I'm not putting you down here. I'm just saying that you get your experience from shooting. Your experience mostly comes from going out and taking photos. If you can get in a photo group, if you can get an apprenticeship, that is great. If you decide to go to college and do photography, that is great as well. But you do not become a fantastic photographer by not shooting photos. That's how you gain experience. You go set up photo shoots and you go and you shoot. That is what you need to do. And that's for everybody out there. I don't know. It's not just kids growing up today. It's just we live in this society where we expect everything to happen instantly. We want instant gratification. We want to take a picture of our food and post it out there before we even eat it to show people what we're doing. We live now where you want everything done right away. Well, it doesn't happen. That 10,000 hour thing still does apply. Get out there, shoot pictures, and that is how you're going to become a better photographer. That's what it is. Get out there and shoot. Michael Rayburn. Let's ask a quality question here. First of all, thank you for the Miss Lil video. She is such a sweet person. We truly appreciate how you include aspects of her in your personal life. It makes you real. Yeah, Lil's doing fine. I was over there the other day. I actually shot a couple of videos of her. I'm going to put that up for anybody that doesn't know Lil. She's 102 years old.
Wow.
Just search Lil on the website. You'll see 90-some videos of us working together. Here's my question. I know that you are big on shooting wide open, but I've heard that many lenses' sweet spots are actually somewhere else on the f-stop scale. Have you found this to be true? Meaning, do you feel that you can achieve a sharper in parentheses sharp at maybe f4 than at 2.8? Well, yeah, lenses have a sweet spot, and sometimes it's around f8, f11 in some of the
f5.6,
5.6 in some of the better glass. In any glass, really, there is a sweeter spot because it's using the sweeter spot of the lens. What's more commonly known as the center portion of the lens, not around the edges where you can get some vignetting or you can get less sharpness across the edges. You've seen that in a lot of kit lenses that there's a lot of haloing and it's not sharp edge to edge. But yeah, I have a 2.8 lens because I want to shoot wide open. Reasons, I want to let more light in. And just because I have a 2.8, I can't believe you already own that lens.
It's going to be like every 2 minutes we're going to bring that up.
Okay, anyway.
It's all good, man. We'll exchange it. We'll get a different one and all will be well.
Yeah.
I still can't believe you bought me it. That's crazy. That's awesome. That's a huge gesture, man.
It is a huge gesture.
Yes, and
so
I
awesome
truly
right
appreciate that.
In my opinion, I'm awesome. So, yeah, I use the 2.8 lenses because they give me the ability to shoot wider open, let more light in, because if I'm trying to shoot at f5.6 or f8, I have to bump the ISO up much higher to compensate. Is there a major difference? If you're doing studio stuff or if you're doing product shots, you're going to see a difference at f11 versus f2.8. If you want, for example, when I shot the FroKnowsPhoto, the Black Rapid strap, I shot that with the 200 f2 at f11. because I wanted everything to be sharp and in focus, and that's what it was. If I shot that at 2.8, then it wouldn't have looked very good because maybe the top of the eye would have been in focus, but the bottom of the eye and the shoot roll would have been out. So there's purposes that you do each thing for. So yeah, it is sharper in the sweetest spot, but I still like to shoot wide open. Bradley Kaplan, Fro, I just got hired and shot my first wedding. It went very well, and everyone was very pleased with the results. How do I use this wedding to market and get hired for another wedding, as I found that I enjoy shooting them? Also, at what point would you recommend investing in my own web domain? Jesus. Okay, don't take this personal again, Bradley. Again, you have to make this happen on your own. I can't tell you everything to do. I can recommend going to listen to The Wedding Show, which was 2 shows ago. That's episode 44, I believe. There's a lot of information in there. But when it comes to wedding, first off, how are you going to showcase your work? How are you going to send them to a place if you don't have a website? You have to think like a business. How am I going to showcase my work? Where am I going to send people? How are people going to find me? Though I don't think people find every wedding photographer by searching through Google or the Bing or whatever you use. It's important to have a place to send people to showcase that you are real. If you don't have a website, people are going to be like, well, how do you not have a website? It's like having an AOL web address, an AOL email address still. It doesn't look professional. It just comes across as, I don't want to work with, they don't have a website. How could I work with them if they don't have a website? I can't even see their work. Are they legitimate? Or are they just trying to take my money? So when it comes to this, I'm glad you enjoyed shooting the weddings, but you have to get out there and figure out how to make your business successful and how to make it work for yourself. I've given a ton of information in that episode, but yes, you need a website and you need to get out there and do this. Jose Lopez Mello. Difference in quality between Sigma 17 to 50 2.8 and the 17 to 50, the 17 to 50 2.8 and the 17 to 70 2.8. Well, first off, the 17 to 70 is not a 2.8 all the way through. The 17 to 70 is kind of like a kit lens. It's 2.8 at 17 millimeters. But I believe when you get to like 20 or 22, it's already going from 2.8 to 3.2 to 3.5. It's a variable aperture lens. So the 17 to 50 2.8 is going to be a better quality lens because it's 2.8 at 17 and it's 2.8 at 50. So I don't like to talk about all this gear stuff so often, so I didn't pick a ton of those, but I thought it was important to tell you that the 17 to 70, out at 70, it's probably like a 5.6. So that's the difference. That's the difference in quality. You're going to get a sharper image, in my opinion, again, from the 17 to 50 2.8. Tobias Teichman. Posing a model which has no experience when being photographed, leading them entirely into pose, or just give them some advice. What is your style? Well, I like to direct. I have to direct a new model. They don't know what they're doing. It's my job to tell them how to look forward, put your head this way, tilt this way, rotate this way. It's my job to do that. But at some point, it's like free flow. Let them flow. See what they do, and then go from there. But you need to do some directing. It's very important. Fred Dingelhoff. Fred is the blind photographer that's out there that we did an interview with, and he wrote, I've written Nikon and Canon headquarters and asked them to think about manufacturing some kind of speech function in their cameras, at least for changing settings on my own. What else could we do? As I loket, I'm not sure what that is, at an app, as he looked, maybe looked, yeah, that's probably looked at it. He doesn't speak English as a first language, so I'm not ripping on him. For anybody thinking that I'm ripping, I'm not. At an app, he looked at an app called TapTapC. It should not be hard, but I think it is a money question. So yeah, I don't think you're going to see that Nikon and Canon are going to put support, or Sigma or any Sony or anybody else out there going to put support in their cameras for this. This is a third-party app type of thing. There's not a lot of blind photographers out there. So what happens is people aren't going to invest a ton of money to... Did I pop on that? Was I plosive, Steven?
No, you're pretty good.
Really good. Wow, good microphones. Thanks, Rode. I just licked it again, and I bit it. So you're going to see this more as a third-party thing. Somebody that is passionate about it can create something and then maybe have it talk with your Nikon camera through Bluetooth. But maybe that Sony thing that's coming out with the built-in sensor would be a better option, a better way to do it. So I think you're going to see that, but it's only going to come from a private firm, somebody privately putting it together. But it's still a great idea. Mike Payne, When you shoot a show, how do you determine value of the image when an artist inquired about wanting to use an image for publicity use, or even better, commercial use? By publicity, I mean referring to website use or posters for print or digital display. And where is the line drawn when they say we would like to use images for social media? Well, anytime they tell you that they want to use it for social media, they don't want to pay you for it, because there's a million people they can get images from, or just take them from anywhere and share them, because a lot of stuff is put out there. People share their images all the time and they don't care. They're just going to share them. It is not easy being green. It's not easy trying to figure out what to charge them. A big question is, what is your budget? As like I said in all the business aspects, is what's your budget? See what they have, see what they can do. Then just make up a number. Make up a reasonable number that's worth your time, and then be prepared to either walk away or take the counter offer that they give you. This is a pain in the butt to deal with. Steven, have you dealt with this?
No, I don't think so.
Because a lot of stuff you shoot is owned by the radio station.
Yeah, yes and no.
Do you own the stuff that's shot at the radio
station? Yeah, I own all the
station?
copyright.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. But so it's very difficult. I deal with this all the time, trying to come up with a price. There's sometimes people do a poster that's going to help them publicize their tour, which they make a ton of money on, but they may only want to give you $300 for the photo. It's like, really? This is going to make you a ton of money. So you then have to determine, is it worth doing, or should you walk away or take the money? It's not an easy decision to make. Chris Mitchell, do you recommend an underexposed image for editing or an overexposed image for editing? My easy answer for that is, how about just a properly exposed image? I don't care. I mean, if I'm close, if I'm within a stop or a half a stop over or under, then it is what it is. I've heard this about people saying you need to shoot under or you need to shoot over so that there's more detail there. Yeah, I guess theoretically that makes sense, but I'm thinking about capturing images. I'm not thinking about whether I'm going to be perfectly perfect with my exposure. You're going to be close. That is what I care about. I rather have a image that I captured an amazing shot that is under or overexposed by a little bit than miss the shot because I'm futzing with my settings. Good answer, Steven?
Mm-hmm.
Derek Giltner. Steaks rare or well done? How about you, Steven?
I like a medium.
I like a medium as well. Just a little bit of pink in the middle.
My girlfriend loves rare, and it's gross in my opinion. In your opinion. Yeah.
Let me write that down. FroKnowsPhoto RAWtalk episode number 46. In my opinion. We're going to go with that one.
Sounds good.
I like them slightly pink, like medium -1.
I'm the same way, yeah. Minus a stop.
Yeah, basically, that's what you tell them, minus a stop. Mike Rainwater, what a great name. How do you convince real estate sales agents that they should start using a real photographer to take pictures of their homes for sales, especially if they take their own pictures and they think they are just as good as yours?
Oh,
how would you approach them without insulting the quality of their pictures, even though you know they stink? Well, first off, if they already think that theirs are as good as yours, you're not going to win.
Yep.
So go find a different real estate person to deal with. There's a million of them out there. They're out there. There's a ton of houses for sale. Find the ones that are willing to invest in your photography.
The expensive homes.
The expensive homes. Yeah, you're not going to find this in the townhouses that go for $100,000. They're just going to take snapshots. But when you're dealing with $400,000, $500,000, $1.5 million homes,
yep,
these realtors are going to make 3%, 2%, maybe 6% if they list it and sell it of that $1 million. That is what, 60 grand on $1 million? 6% is 60 grand? It's got to be.
I think so, yeah.
Not 6 grand. 6 grand is 100,000. So that's $60,000, I think. My math, I think it's right. So these guys can invest some money, giving you $400, $500 to spend the day. And if you're going to do photos and a video walkthrough, which I do highly recommend, you're charging $1,000. These guys are going to make so much money when they sell the house. You want to find a realtor that's dealing with the prime time real estate, $450,000 and up, or maybe whatever, but find these people that you can work a deal out with, get in with them, have fast turnaround, do a quality work, and if they already take photos, then you're SOL, because a lot of these guys do, but some of them know that their time is not worth it, that their time is better spent having a professional come out and do it. So I would call every realtor. It's so easy to find realtors. Just go get one of those magazines that lists all the prices, all the houses for sale. Start calling them. Go to their office. Go out and say, look, I will shoot this first house for you. You can see that I've done this before. Find friends with nice houses, go out and do some as tests, and then show these people your work and say, look, I'll give you the first one. Pay me whatever you think it's worth. If you don't like my photos, don't pay me. If you like them, then just give me something to start. But from here on out, if you do, we'll negotiate a deal that if you hit X amount of houses a month, I will give you, after 5, it's going to be $100 off each. Just something like that. Good. That's good information, in my opinion. Will Ty, $1,000. I'm not going to answer this question because I don't want to go into gear.
You got about 15 minutes left,
Simon
by the way.
Pocock. Taking photos of the homeless, exploitation or exposing the plight of the unfortunate? It's both. You're exploiting the homeless because they're there and you think they're going to make some great images. Or you're also, what was that?
Just taking off my headphones.
Stop taking off your headphones.
Because I'm about to change the camera.
Oh yeah, go ahead, do that. Is it still going? Yeah, I'm going to take that lens back, Steven. Yeah. Anyway, so I think that it's a little bit of both. It's exposing the plight of the unfortunate, but you're also taking advantage of them. You're exploiting them because they're there. But I don't. It doesn't matter either way, in my opinion. Edgar David, about second shooters. Do you allow them to use the photos in their portfolio? My fear is that someday that somebody could see photos from the same wedding in my portfolio and think that I stole the photos from the second shooter. That's a great question. When I've had second shooters or I've worked with somebody, I allow them to I allow them to use the images for their portfolio because they took them. And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to tell them that, no, you can't use these because everybody needs help. Everybody asks for that little bit of help, like, how do I get somebody to help me and be a photographer, or how do they give me a break? Well, I think it would be unfair, in my opinion, to say that you can't use the photos that you captured for publicity for your portfolio. Now, they can't use it to I don't think publicity is good, not advertising, but it's in my contracts that we have the ability to use them for publicity and advertising our job. So, Steven, what do you think about that?
I agree, but do you think it's fair for him to use the second shooter's picture in his portfolio?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah,
even
because
though he
I
didn't
paid
take
you
the
to shoot
picture?
those photos. I do.
Do you think that's a misrepresentation with his work? Because what if he's not with that second shooter and they hire him and they expect a similar photographer or something along those lines?
It's a good question, but part of my wedding package is having a second shooter, and that's representative of what a second shooter would capture. And it's up to me to make sure that I'm hiring somebody that's capable to capture the quality of images that are in that book.
Okay.
So
that makes sense.
That's my answer, but it's a good question, Steven.
Yeah.
David Gutierrez. I took a decent photo of a band during a concert. Can I sell prints or posters, or do I need the band's permission? Steven, what do you think?
Well, if you took the picture and you didn't sign anything, then you can.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree totally. Yeah. You don't own their likeness. See, there's a difference as somebody becomes a celebrity. Sometimes but again, then you got paparazzis that go out there and shoot photos and sell them and make money.
I think legally you can, but
morally you should not.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, legally
they're going to come
you
after
can.
you because you don't represent their merch company.
No. But you still technically own that image and you can sell it.
You do technically own that image, but then mass producing and selling merchandise.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that
far. You do not own their likeness in order to monetize that way. Selling for publication, I think, is a different thing. But then if you go ahead and try to sell your own t-shirts, that's not legal. If you go ahead and try to sell poster prints, that's not legal either. They're going to come after you. So no, you
and
can't sell those.
A lot of the bigger bands will make you sign a form basically saying, you can't sell any of these, you can't do anything with these besides post them for whatever publication you're shooting for, et cetera, et cetera. It sucks.
I can't believe you own that lens. Ian Middleton Duff, do you have any? I really am upset, and I didn't want to call you and ask you first. And do you have any quick tips for changing lenses while in mid-shoot? I mean, working in the pit can be a pretty dark place, and deciding to change lenses could be a big deal.
It's a pain in the ass.
Do you use a methodical way of changing quickly and efficiently? Well, first off, you shouldn't do it quickly. If you're going to do something quickly, that's when you run into problems. That's when you put a lens on wrong or get it stuck in the mount or bend a pin inside, which the Nikons still have and the Canons don't, which I've done before. My recommendation is you have a flashlight in your bag on your hip so that you can see what you're doing, or you use stage lights at that point to help you change the lens and line everything up perfectly. That's what I do.
Yeah, don't wait till the song ends, because then usually the lights will go off for that 30-second period or whatever, and then you're stuck in the darkness. And don't ever change them or change them as much when you're shooting like an outside festival or whatever, because I've gotten dirt and stuff in my lens because of that, and learned my lesson.
Sure. Richard Ritter, noise reduction on or off in the camera, and why? I keep it off. It doesn't affect those RAW files. Steven?
Noise reduction I keep off too.
All right. Simon Lennox, is there such a thing as too young to use a DSLR? Oh, this is Simone. Simone.
Yeah.
Simone. Sorry, Simone. My 11-year-old now has a D7000 and loving it. Pointers for him. Well, first off, to answer your first question, is there such a thing as too young to use a DSLR? I think you know this answer already because your son is already using a D7000 and loving it. I'm going to say, she says pointers for him. I do have pointers. I do have a pointer for anybody starting out. And I'm going to say shooting in auto modes. The reason I say that set the camera to any of those auto settings at this point is that at 11, it's more important to worry about capturing the images in the frame, to get the right composition, to just show that you can capture an image. It's a starting point. I rather have an image that, I rather capture the image not properly. I'd rather get a good composition, a good capture, than worry about the settings first and foremost when you're first starting out. I think what's going to happen as he becomes a better photographer, as he starts seeing things and he's trying to shoot somebody running, and they're blurry. They're not blurry because of focus. They're blurry because of the settings. At that point, you can start to introduce the manual modes like shutter priority and aperture priority. This is a progression. You're giving him the ability. He now has questions. So anytime somebody has a question about how do I do this, that's when you start to explain to them how the exposure triangle works and how a faster shutter speed is going to freeze motion where a slower isn't. That's when you start to demonstrate, and that's when you get out of the auto modes. So I am totally for anybody that's starting out just getting a feel for the camera in those particular settings. Does that make sense to you, Steven?
Yeah, and I was going to say, recommend maybe buying like a cheap prime lens, like a 51.8 or something like that, and which kind of forces him to learn composition a little more because he's forced to actually move around instead of just zooming in, zooming out, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just a recommendation.
Absolutely. Timmy Blackwell, Jared, I'm ready to start making some money to get more gear, but when I show up on a shoot with a T5100 and a 50mm lens, I don't feel that people take me serious. What do you say to that? I say if you don't feel confident in yourself, then they're not going to feel confident in you. You can shoot and capture images with anything. You shouldn't, in my opinion, be taking jobs if all you have is one lens. Unless you're capable of completing that job with just that one lens. You have the ability to go rent lenses and rent bodies. You could rent from borrow lenses. You can pick up glass. You can pick up bodies there. And that's what you can use if you don't feel confident or in your gear. But if you don't feel confident, then nobody's going to feel confident in you. So you just say, yeah, I got a D5100 and a 51.8. What about it? What about it? You just do it. I get great images. That's all that matters. So if you don't feel confident, they're not going to feel confident.
Or buy a battery grip and make it look like something else.
Jan Becker III. Hey, Steven.
Hey, dude.
Do you wear two cameras on a wedding or only one?
Only one. I'm not a two-camera kind of person.
The other one's in your bag, right?
No, two bodies?
Yeah.
I only have one body.
Okay.
I had a second shooter, but yeah, I don't like to carry, even in the pit. I mean, we see some photographers all the time with two, but it's nice because you can capture that moment. You can have the wide on one and the telephoto on the other, but at the same time, it's almost a pain in the ass because then you got to switch it, make sure the settings are right, and blah, blah, blah. And by the time you do all that, you might as well just change the lens.
You got to worry about it hanging there and all of that. So yeah, and sometimes, and stuff. I think the other problem is in the pit is you're then trying to decide, should I use this camera or this camera?
Yep.
When I decide to change lenses, it's for a reason.
Yep.
And I do it so that I only have that one option.
And if you have a full frame and a crop, make sure you have your telephoto on the crop sensor so you get a little more depth or a little more,
See, but in my opinion, I want to use I want to use the full frame sensor when I'm shooting concerts no matter what.
Yeah, me too. But that's the thing. Like if you're doing two bodies, usually you'll have the one cropped and the one full frame. So it's like, which body do you want to use? It's always going to be the full frame. But
Juan Lamus, Lamus, how to deal with some DJs and videographers that disrespect you and other vendors during a wedding? Is approaching the bride and groom a good route, or is there a better route?
You smack them.
Well, first off, you never, ever, ever, and this is not just my opinion, this is what I'm going to call a fact. You do not go to the bride and groom to deal with any negative situations whatsoever. This is their wedding day.
Yeah.
You don't want to take them out of that. If you want to talk to a parent, if you want to talk, well, I wouldn't even bother them either. You may want to talk to somebody at the venue.
Maitre d'.
But I think the way to do this is you handle it directly. I called somebody because I had this happen to me once there, and I couldn't remember the exact story, but I know what I said to the guy, and I even called the persons whose wedding it was yesterday. I called Bill Rogers, and I asked him if he remembered the situation and if it was his wedding. He said, "Yeah, it was this way. It was my wedding." Because I didn't tell him when it happened. I told him after the wedding that somebody disrespected me royally. It was a videographer. And I think it may have had something to do with them constantly getting in my way or not looking or putting a camera where they shouldn't put a camera because it's going to be in the way of the photos. And in these situations, you have to work together. They hired you guys to work together. You have to be able to be professional enough to do it. And that's why if they put a camera in a place that's going to be in every photo, the bride and groom aren't going to want that. So that's probably what it stemmed from. But somebody said something to me. One of the assistants there for this video guy said something to me. He walked over to me. He whispered something to me. And I turned and I looked at him and I said, "Don't you ever disrespect me again."
Don't disrespect my authority.
I flat out said, I may have even said.
Do you remember what he said?
I may have even said, "If you disrespect me again, I will kill you." I may have threatened him with bodily harm because whatever he said pissed me off that much that I said it nicely, and I just basically put him in his place. And then he tried apologizing later, or somebody tried apologizing. I think it was his the other guy he was working with, and I was just like, "Yeah, don't ever do it again." I said, you just need to be professional, and what he did wasn't. So no, I don't really accept this bullshit apology.
By the way, you got about 5 minutes left.
So that's my answer. You got to deal with these guys together, and you got to be prepared. The reason I was prepared to threaten the guy is because I was shooting with somebody else that was bigger and could take care of them if there was an issue.
Because you had your gun on you?
No. Mark Payne. Hi, Jared. Under what circumstances would you shoot JPEG? Having some interesting discussions on Facebook with people that can't see the benefit of RAW. Many thanks. Steven, is there a place that you would shoot JPEG? I know you do.
I do in certain occasions, like for example, the radio station has concerts that we run for our birthday shows or whatever, and we actually upload the pictures in real time.
Which is still upsetting because you want to tweak them, and then they're going to go ahead and crop them crappily.
Yep.
And
what I'll do is I'll change the picture style in camera so it's edited the way I want it in camera, flatten the contrast a little bit, all that kind of stuff, and then I'll give it to them, and then they upload it in real time because that's what the photo editor prefers. But I'll shoot RAW plus JPEG, so the RAWs I'll keep for myself. Then they'll keep the JPEGs.
The only time that I could see doing that is if a client really was on me about, and a paying client, about getting something right there.
Right away, yeah.
But even then, I'm not happy with those results because I have not tweaked the files. I don't want to give them, if I haven't gone through and edited them. First off, we all know that not every picture you take is perfect. I don't want to show them the not great images.
Yeah.
That's not what I don't want to do that. I want to show them the best of the best of the best with honor, sir, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. So hashtag in my opinion a lot this week, guys. So I don't really think that I would shoot JPEG, really. Shooting sports, still wouldn't do it. And people say that, well, I shoot youth sports and I got to take a lot of pictures and motor drive. You know what? When it's time to edit, you know what?
Bulk edit.
Here, how about that? In this case, if I was shooting youth sports again and had to put the images up really quick to showcase for somebody to purchase them right then and there, they're not really going to care what the color, and if the color's close, that's all they care about.
They just want their kid in the picture.
If I have the RAW file, I'm going back to the RAW file to go ahead and make the print. So that is a case where I would shoot RAW plus JPEG basic, put the JPEG basics right on those computers for people to make purchases, and then go back to the RAW file to make the purchase, to make the print.
It comes back to that horse race that girl was talking about where she prints them right away or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, occasions like that where you need a JPEG or you need to print it right away, that kind of stuff.
But I still go back to the RAW file.
Yeah, if you had time, but if, sometimes you need those real-time situations where you need to upload them or print them right then and there.
All right, couple more. James Drake, hey Jared, how do you feel about assisting a pro for free? Would you take the experience only in exchange for a few hours of assisting a week, or would you just walk away if there's no cash in the deal? How many people out here are fighting for an opportunity like this? How many? I see you guys raising your hand right now. There's a lot of people asking, how do I even get into this situation? Look, if they don't pay you, they're already paying you. That's the thing. They may not be paying you in money. They may be paying you in education. That is worth more than money when you're trying to make it in the photography field. So take the job, make it work. It could turn into paying, but the education that you get out of it is more important than that few dollars that you may get up front. Ian Middleton Duff. Notice when you shoot your concerts, you only use one camera. Without tempting fate, or are you ever worried you may get a malfunction with your camera? Absolutely. I am worried that I may get a malfunction with my camera. Knock on some wood. Some things have happened before, but I'm going to shoot today, Stephen.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to throw the D800 in my bag just because I have
Safe
it currently, measures. And that's going to be there. Ideally, I would always love to shoot with my D4, but yes, having some sort of backup is still important, even if it's a D7000. Just anything that allows you to continue the job is important. I know that when I shoot weddings, there's 2 photographers. If something happens to one person's camera, okay, then that's fine. We still have somebody else's there. Ideally, it's great to have a second, but it's also very expensive. But again, you could borrow a camera as a backup. And if you're getting paid a ton of money, it may be worth it to have it just for the sake of having it. It's a great question. I try not to tempt fate, but that's another reason for buying the best of the best of the best pro gear. Not saying that it won't go bad, but saying that it's built a little better. It still can fail, and there still can be issues, but that's another reason. Time?
You are about up, actually.
All right, I'll keep going.
All right.
Joseph, last name is Padiyernos. So Padiyernos is how he spelled it out. Anyways, do you experience lower back pain as a result of carrying heavy gear? If yes, how do you deal with it? Great question. The way that you deal with it is you get a rolling bag. You get a Think Tank Airport International, a Think Tank Airport, whatever that small one is that they sent me and I used that I liked. For long days, backpacks, and rolling bags. I was in Alan's camera with my biggest bag, the Tamrac Pro 613 or something. I can't believe you own that lens. I know. With the biggest bag ever, and I had everything loaded in it, and this thing must have weighed 30 pounds. How's this camera over here, Steven?
We're good.
Must have weighed 30 pounds, and I got yelled at by an AP photographer. He's like, you're stupid. You're young and you're dumb. He's like, your back's going to kill you. Get a rolling bag. So I did. I got a rolling bag. The only time I use those shoulder bags is when I'm on a shoot, and it's only, an hour or 2 at a time, but I may take the stuff in a rolling bag and then put it into my other bag. Like today I'm going to shoot, and I know I'm going to be going around a venue and tour buses and doing all of that for the day. I'm only going to take my retrospective 30. That's a shoulder bag because I have to be light and mobile. Lee Churchill, how long can you leave unprocessed 35 millimeter film before it isn't worth getting it processed? You can leave it as long as you want. That latent image does stay there for quite a long time. Now, heat and moisture and everything can affect the quality of the negatives when you get them later, but you can leave it. I mean, I recommend if you're not going to have it processed soon, put it back in the freezer or the refrigerator. Yeah. But honestly, just go get it processed. You can still find rolls that are 50 years old that people have shot and get images out of them. The latent image should still be there.
When I used to work in a photo lab, the oldest film I ever developed was a roll from 1977. And it still came out great. The guy who dropped it off actually in the pictures was about 6 years old, and then he's about 40 something when he came in. But it looked great. There was nothing wrong with them, but there was a strong magenta color shift on them.
But that's easily correctable.
I corrected everything, and it actually looks pretty good. Like maybe a couple years expired film, but nothing, not 30, 40 years old.
And that was the thing.
It's crazy.
You didn't really have the ability 10, 15 years ago or whatever to correct the images that much. So are you changing that camera? Is that what you're doing?
I was going to change that real quick.
So yeah, you can leave that. Derek Mack, Skittles or M&Ms? Though I love tasting the rainbow, in my opinion, I'm a big M&Ms fan. I've always loved M&Ms, even when they had red dye number 25 that possibly gives you cancer taken off. Do you remember that, Stephen?
I don't remember that.
When I was a kid, they took red M&Ms out of the bag because the die that they were using, I think this is fact, but I'm going to say in my opinion, just in case that somebody wants to sue me, that they had to take it off the market because it was found that the red dye that they used was causing cancer.
Wow.
Or could cause cancer.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah. So what do you like, Skittles or M&Ms?
I'm an M&M's guy. I mean, I'm chocolate all the way.
Yep. Zach Thomas Morrissey, do you think a version 2 of Nikon's 24-70 is on the way? I hope so. David King, faster lenses or better image stabilization? Faster lenses any day of the week.
Yes.
Sasha Bolton, what do you think is better on photography business website? Put a lot of text that explains everything, like portrait, candid, weddings, or let the photos talk for itself and keep the text minimal? Absolutely keep the text minimal, but make sure that what you write is concise and that it's to the point, but your images need to speak for themselves. You don't want people to read a novel. Again, I said this earlier, is that we live in an instant gratification time. If you can't in the first paragraph or in 2 sentences get the information across, then it's too long. So limit yourself to what you write. Last question. Kevin Sutton, do you scale up your photos to match your intended print size in Lightroom or Photoshop to make your big-ass prints? Or does your vendor do that for you? Well, I do that for me. If I'm going to enlarge something to say 20 by 30, 40 by 60, I take the image full res exported at its native resolution. Whatever it exports at, I take that TIFF or I take that JPEG, yes, JPEG, and put it into Photoshop and then make it 40 by 60. There are people out there who are going to tell you that you should grow it incrementally at 10% increments. I've seen the tests that you probably would never know the difference, going from 10% steps till you get to 40 by 60 or just jumping right to 40 by 60. I've done a ton of prints in this method and I have been happy with them, in my opinion. So those are all the questions. This has been Rapid Talk 46, or FroKnowsPhoto RAWtalk episode 46. Big thanks to allenscamera.com. Thank you guys out there for the 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. Happy birthday, Steven. Sorry that I got you a lens you already owned, and now I got to deal with returning it and getting yelled at by Alan.
I apologize for that.
And I already wrote the check, which is still here. And Rode microphones. Thank you guys for supplying these mics that we use this week. Well, just about every week right now. And BBO poker tables for this poker table that I paid for and didn't mention them in a long time. So again, happy birthday to Steven. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes or any other podcasting network wherever you can. And that, my friends, is RAWtalk episode number 46, called In My Opinion. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.